formally start the proceedings of the day 2 by welcoming our honorable keynote speaker for the keynote address. Please help me welcome with a big round of applause for the keynote address, Mr. Rajeev Singh, Vice President and Business Head, Mid-Market and Emerging Business from SAP India Subcontinent. Rajeev, welcome to the stage. Glad to have you here and looking for a great start from your side.
Thank you everyone. Very good morning to all of you. Am I audible? Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. The topic that I'm going to talk about is on reimagining customer experience for emerging enterprises. And before I get into talking about customer experience, I wanted to share what as a citizen I experienced in last 1 month. And I must say, I was ecstatic to see India establishing its supremacy in space with Chandrayaan, launching our Aditya mission, establishing our supremacy back home on land with G20's successful summit. And if that was not all, we established our supremacy with our neighbor by beating them in India-Pakistan match. So with that team, I wanted to introduce myself. I think you've heard I am Vice President SAP, but there are numbers that you're seeing on the screen. That's my introduction in numbers. 22 years in industry, 12 years with SAP. I worked only for 3 organizations in my career. I have 2 kids and only 1 wife. So, and don't get me wrong, right? So that wife experience has been pretty good for me. So I just wanted to establish that. I also represent a business, Midmarket for India, which is our largest customer base in India. 80% of our customers are in Midmarket, and that's the business that I represent. Thank you. And also about SAP, as many of you may know, but we are the only software giant outside of US in top 3 enterprise application software. We're the largest enterprise software application outside of US. And it is a big pride for us to say that the German engineering is actually embedded in the software, which is competing strongly with some of the stalwarts of US. In mid-market and emerging business, that business that I represent, the growth of India, if we really have to move forward and become the $5 trillion economy by 2025-26, that's our ambition, and be the 3rd largest economy by 2030, this segment of SME has to contribute maximum, right? Some of the stories that you hear, MSMEs today contribute to 40% of India's export. And this export needs to grow significantly given the macroeconomic situation, the China impact. The exports of SMEs will increase from 40% to expected to be around 60% in next 5 to 7 years. What does it mean for SMEs, for people? They will have newer markets, newer customers to cater to, and of course retain and get maximum out of those markets for India as an economy. Third part, SMEs today contribute to 30% of India's GDP, right? And the concept of this GDP, again, India has to become big. This 30% has to become 50% as contribution from emerging business or medium enterprises. Why am I talking about medium enterprises? And the concept, as per a McKinsey study, in India, if you see top 600 firms, contribute to more than 50% of India's GDP. And 6.3 crores MSMEs, 6.3 crore MSMEs contribute only 30% to India's GDP. Now, and this is a very unique problem in India, right? There is a missing middle. And what if that middle is not filled, we will never become a great giant, right, in economy. And this is the concept of missing middle, that the 10,000 of the smallest of enterprises have to become medium enterprises, and at least 1,000 medium enterprises have to become giants of India and add to that 600 numbers that we are talking about. Now, is that easy, right? And we have been serving this segment for past 25 years in India. It's easier said than done, right? That small should become medium, and everybody has been trying it for ages, trying to become from a small and break that glass ceiling to become medium enterprise. Medium enterprises are trying to break that glass ceiling, become large enterprise. It's not been easy for various reasons, right? There have been various macro level impacts, right? Whether it was COVID, prior to that, after that Ukraine war. And this is the segment which gets maximum impacted because they do not have the financial muscle of an enterprise, the skill bench, or the customers which are hedged. Possibly they are catering to a very limited set of customers for their life. And hence, any such macroeconomic impact this segment maximum. And for these people to survive, these SMEs to survive, the key to survival is only innovation, right? We are living in an unprecedented era where you need tremendous agility. As per global reports, we are expected to have a major macroeconomic impact in the world every 3 years. And we've seen that after COVID, Ukraine war, possibly the unrest that is happening globally, the China versus US. So there's macroeconomic impact expected to impact us as industry every 3 years. Are we ready for, as an SME, is the segment ready for such kind of disruption every 3 years? If you look at, and just looking back, right, before 2000, all the Fortune 500 companies which existed, 52% of those companies do not exist today. And the only reason being, were they not innovative enough? Did they not see what was going to happen to them or what was happening in the industry? And also I want to highlight that 75% of startups, will have digital first strategy. And a lot of you sitting here may be digital first, digital native organizations or traditional organizations trying to become on digital journey, right? These startups who are starting now will be your competition in few months that you would not be thinking. You'll be thinking they'll take 10 years. No, they'll be ready to compete against you in 1 year or less, right? And why? Because they are backed by digital technology, right? Their backbone is. And if you look at what is innovation, right? So for me, innovation, how we define is broadly in 3 areas. One, you need to be having very resilient supply chain when you are an organization, right? You need to innovate in operational efficiencies, whether it's your production or your internal efficiencies, employee efficiencies. But most importantly, the innovation has to happen in your customer reach and customer experience. Why? Because this is the area which is possibly can be disrupted with least cost, least intervention. You do not have to touch your plants, you do not have to touch your supplier network. This is something which is very in-house. With minimum intervention, you can possibly innovate and reach better markets, newer markets, and cater to newer segments. So just a point, right? Data point says that 84% of customers, this is a global survey done on more than 3,000 customers globally. It says that 84% of customers who take CX as priority in their business and focusing on personalization have seen revenue grow by up to 15%. So 84% customers believe that your revenue can grow by 15% if you have CX intervention. It is the only digital technology which has direct impact on your revenue. Every other solution technology impacts your cost. It reduces cost. CX is the only intervention, digital intervention, which has a direct impact on your revenue, right? And some of the examples I wanted to share is, one of the steel manufacturers has seen, because of digital interventions, a 35% increase in revenue. Some of the challenges that they were facing was, improving overall distributor experience, right? So they had huge list of distributor. Competition was attacking their distributor. They wanted to have the same mindshare with those distributors. And this was a challenge which this steel manufacturer was facing. And it is possibly a commoditized market, right? And some of the actions that taken by this customer was they looked at their sales, the entire account management, they consolidated using a solution. They looked at their service, the complaints which were coming from customer, are they servicing them efficiently? And also they looked at the whole commerce side of it, the whole dealer self-service, ordering. Could the distributors configure the products themselves using the portal. And all of this helped them increase their revenue by 35%, actually by improving their customer acquisition and overall lifetime value. Second, second customer, again in a home decor brand, increased the average deal size by 28%, right? And this is all domestic stories I'm talking about, right? And some of their issue was that sales teams were working on manual systems, and the data was not being consolidated to really give an overview to their front-end sales on how can they really improve the entire process. And so with digital interventions, they could reduce time to quote, and it increased their sales efficiency by nearly 60%. And how did they do it? Because some of the front-end salespeople were not now worried about their time was spent in possibly creating value with customer rather than getting into the operational efficiency at back end with their system, right? So the average deal size increased by 28%. The third example is about a tire manufacturer, right? Automotive tire brand. They had 119% jump in pipeline and this data is not only 1 year, it's over a 3-year period. Again, the similar thing, right? So they were focused on servicing their customer better, and by intervening in the service side of the business, they could increase their pipeline, and the whole grievance management was addressed, and the repeat purchases of the customers which are existing, the pipeline increased by 119%. Now, let me talk to you about what's the future of CX, right? A lot of people must be thinking about what should be, all this is good, but what should be our strategy, my strategy for going for a CX solution, right? What is a CX intervention? First, and there are 4 aspects I'll talk about. One, the CX solution or digital intervention that you want needs to be connected. What I mean by connected is now the time is gone that you have just the front end, your sales is entering a data, this is the account I visited, this is the details, etc. It has to be connected from front office to back office, right? You should be able to get and view the most important data that customers have, like what's your supply chain data? What's the product availability in inventory, right? Whatever you're positioning, when will you be able to deliver? Who are your most important customers in that segment? So having a front end without having a connected back end, whether it's an ERP or your manufacturing systems, etc., the whole visibility has to be extremely important. There is no point in having only data which is customer facing and not being able to service or take action on that data. So truly integrated system, in my opinion, can help you identify value customers, sell the most profitable product that you have, position them well to the customers early, right? So that's the truly integrated system. If you have visibility as connected system, that's when you will be able to do that. Second, I think the CX has to be industry tailored. It's very easy for us to say that, okay, there is a customer experience out of the box, best of breed, but every industry has its unique challenge, right? There is because the business models are changing for various organizations, the product companies are getting into servitizing their products, whether it's battery as a service, tire as a service, right? And the services companies are trying to come into product, right? So these business models will keep evolving. And every industry will have its unique challenge. So a CX solution should be able to understand that industry well and should be able to position. So absolutely important that the solution that you're talking to, trying to purchase or implement, has that industry knowledge, right? So extremely important. Third, it should be adaptive. When I say adaptive, meaning there's a monolithic system which will sit and stand for ages. Customizations are heavy, very difficult. Or there is another approach where you said, no, I'll build everything on my own. And a lot of these digital native startups are building very unique systems on their own. But come scale and complexity, building something of your own becomes extremely costly. Monolithic systems become extremely rigid. It's important that you have the hybrid approach in this entire strategy of your CX, which is have best of breed, which is industry relevant, and whatever extra that you need for your industry or competitive edge, that needs to be built around this this entire solution. That's what I call as adaptive, and very important to not go by assuming that, okay, these are the best features which are part of this solution, but what are you getting to really develop around this CX, right, entire solution. That's important. And lastly, it should be insightful. When I say insightful, and many people would think that it's all, AI, and it's all analytics. You should have embedded analytics. All that is very good. The important part is insightful. Is it predictive enough? Are you leveraging artificial intelligence, which is talk of the town today, right? So artificial intelligence in predicting which are the high propensity customer for you. There is concept of guided buying, right, which a lot of these e-commerce portals use. But as a small and medium enterprise, can you use these artificial intelligence technologies, tools, to really have a guided buying, guided selling experience, right, for your customer? And while it is easier said than done, the whole artificial intelligence, generative AI, and one of the talks I was having with one of the customers was that today generative AI you can just scan a instructions sheet of a solution. You have a light bulb, which is a Chinese-made light bulb. You scan it, it just creates an item master, and you can have all very good-looking description of product that you're selling with ChatGPT, Gen AI, right? You don't have to type, and somebody doesn't have to think. It's the feature of ChatGPT. Very good, very cool. Important part is AI responsible enough? So you will end up being excited about this whole ChatGPT, OpenAI. Very important for everyone to note that AI should be responsible and it should be ethical, right? When I say it's very easy, and a recent case in example, 2 examples I'll give you is, Samsung Semiconductors. If you've heard that story about OpenAI issue with Samsung Semiconductor, 2 of the coders wanted to develop a code and enhance their code. They took that piece of code and said that, okay, can you enhance and suggest what should be done in OpenAI? And you can Google this story, right? ChatGPT, okay, gave some options. The employee did not know. He said that, okay, this is a confidential code. He wanted to go back and delete it. You cannot delete anything in OpenAI. Whenever you put something, it's that OpenAI goes in the learning model, right? Foundational model, it's in learning model. As industry says that Samsung is behind by 5 years in their innovation due to this small issue of sensitive code getting exposed to an OpenAI. Why I'm talking about this is you will get absolutely bombarded with AI technology sitting on top of CX, etc. Very important for you to know what data is sent outside of your ecosystem to train that large language model, right? Is that data out of bias? When I say out of bias, is it your real data, or is it a data which is similar to what you want to train the model on? Example, again, and what we believe that the design principle should be threefold. One, it should be free of bias whenever you are training a AI model. Second, it should not be autonomous. There should always be a human intervention, right? So if an AI says that, okay, this customer can buy this product, and it should not automatically send an order back in your system. There should be human intervention. And third, very importantly, that you should be able to trace back the output of an AI. If an organization or a tool that you're selecting which cannot trace back, why did this output come? And what was the reason? How can you trace back? Why did this output come? Then you are not safe, right? So these are 3 design principles that we believe any tool should have. Last example, and I'll end with that on the bias side. New York police used, again, a generative AI, trained its model on certain set of data of murders happening in that city. And basis that prediction, they started frisking certain set of people. And after a month, it was realized that they ended up frisking and prisoning a particular set community race of people in jail. And that's when they realized that the model was trained on a biased data, meaning they were taking only murder data and they were not training the model on various other factors, right? So these are some of the sensitivities of AI, which I want to just highlight also, that whenever you're talking about this talk of the town, Gen AI, very important that you have these design principles in mind. And with that, I just wanted to end my 10 minutes. Thank you for the alarm. And ended by saying this, the customer experience is going to be the new competitive battleground. And with that, I'll end my session. Thank you for being a lovely audience.
Thank you, Rajeev. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rajeev Singh. Rajeev, I would request you to kindly be on the stage. And I would like to call Mr. KV Deepu, Senior President from Bajaj Alliance General Insurance Company Limited, to do the honors. Thank you so much, Deepuji, for doing the honors.
Thank you. So I'm supposed to hand over all of these? Yeah. Okay, one by one.
Thank you.
A big round of applause again. Fantastic opening of the day by this keynote address from Mr. Rajeev Singh, Vice President and Business Head, Mid-Market and Emerging Business from SAP India Subcontinent.
Thank you so much.